Today, we're going to be working on cleaning out our painters. First, we're going to do our Graco painter, which does all of our logos. Some of the things you're going to need when you're doing this, obviously you'll have your painter that has just been used to paint, so it's all primed, ready to go. You'll have a couple 5-gallon buckets filled with water that you're going to use to flush your system, and then you're going to have a hose that you use to clean out various parts as you're going along.
So to start here, we will take the spray tip off of the gun and we will set the gun aside until we need it. Now we have the paint bucket sitting in the machine and we are going to let the paint get out of the leads, and then we will take our bucket with paint and the leads off the painter and transfer those leads to a bucket of fresh clean water. Now you can see I have a couple of them because we're going to do this process multiple times. I've just switched the pump into the prime position so we can begin to flush out the paint from the motor and the pump system. This first time, all we're doing is trying to get the paint out of the prime system. I am not actually going to flush the paint out of the hose this first time. We're just trying to get some of that paint out of the main part of the motor. I have that second bucket there because we're going to transfer the leads into the other bucket to begin the actual flushing process. Now that we've got these in the second time, we will turn the pump back on while it's still in the prime position, and you can notice that that bucket is still got lots of paint in the whole system, but it's already much farther along because we did that first flush out. Again, you'll know the system is done priming when the big bubbles are gone and all you have is the small bubbles left in the bucket. I just switched the pump into the painting position, and what I'm doing here is trying to save the paint that is still wrapped up in that hose, and I'm putting it back into the bucket that is just straight paint. Now, I will do this by spraying against the sides, and I will know that all of the paint is out and you're starting to get water when it is no longer sticking to the sides and it is becoming clear and opaque. Now we will start to begin the main flushing process, and this first time you will still have plenty of paint inside of the hose, but the water that's going through as we go along each time, it'll make it clearer and clearer and clearer. You can do this for about a minute each time or until you've used about half of your 5-gallon bucket. Now that we've done with the first one, we have refilled our other buckets with clean water and we're about to begin the second cycle of flushing out the system. We transferred the tubes over to clean water and we will prime the system again. You will notice here that there is still a little bit of paint in the priming pump cycle, but it is much clearer than it was the first time or two that we took it out. With a little bit of paint that's still in here, that shows me that we're going to probably have to do this one more time again after this for a grand total of 3 flushes. Once we've primed it, we turn it back into the pump position and we will clean out the hose a second time. As you can see, still the nozzle tip is no longer in the gun. It is in a separate area, either soaking in water or waiting to be cleaned out. We take the nozzle tip out just to make it so that the water will come out at a greater volume and we can clean a lot faster. I went for about 30 seconds here, and that's the end of cycle 2. You turn off the pump, take out the leads, and transfer it over to another clean 5-gallon bucket of water. Now, once we take this out, you will turn the pump back on and prime it. And as you can see here, the water that is coming out of the priming position is practically clear. This indicates to us that there isn't any paint left in the priming system, which means there shouldn't be any paint left caked inside the hose as well. So this will be the last time we will cycle through this. I've just switched it back into the pumping position, and we're going to flush it out one more time for 30 seconds to a minute. We're just going to make sure that there's no longer any paint in there. Now at this point, I'm pretty satisfied that there is no longer any paint left inside of the hose. So the last thing we are going to do is we are going to put the nozzle tip back on into the gun, and we are going to clean out the nozzle tip by spraying water through the system, both directions through the tip. See, now it's back on. We'll spray it the normal direction first that you would for painting. Then we'll flip it 180 degrees to make sure there isn't any parts clogged in there and spray those out. After we like how that looks, we'll turn it around one more time and spray the normal direction. Once you feel like your paint tip is spraying at a clean and even rate of water, you are done cleaning out your painter. So you can go ahead and turn off your pump. You can turn off the motor to the whole system. Go ahead and wind your gun back up so that's not dragging on the ground. And put your bucket that still has water in it and the leads back into its holding container for storage. This will help keep the system primed so that it is one less step you have to do when you are going to put paint in it the next time. Put the cover back on, and you have cleaned out your painter.